this video, I'm going to go over 5 basic but effective stretches that I think everybody over the age of 50 should do. And the best thing, it'll take you no more than about 10 minutes a day. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Ed Dubout, physical therapist from Integrated Physical Therapy in Bellingham, Washington. Alright, so in this video I'm going to go over 5 basic stretching exercises. They're simple, but they're very effective, and I'll tell you why we're doing each one. Alright, let's get started. The first one we're going to talk about is the back of the neck. One of the things that starts to happen, I see it time and time again, is poor posture from sitting. And what happens is, in a perfect world, our head sits right over our shoulders, so earlobe and shoulders are lined up, but most of us are far forward. We spend so much time into that forward flexion position, or if I'm driving sometimes, if my seat's too far back, I'm in this forward head position, and the back of the cranium gets tight. So the idea is that you want to try to bring your chin back over the shoulders. I like to use a little bit of overpressure, and you'll get a sense of elongation in the back of the neck. So the reason we're doing this is to improve the flexibility of the muscles behind the neck, and you should feel a little bit of a stretch. If you don't feel a stretch, that's okay. That means you're not very tight to start off with. And you're going to hold that for a 5-second count and then let it release. And I'll just have you do that stretch 5 times for a 5-second hold. Stay tuned to the end of the video because I have an extra bonus stretch. It's number 6. Another group of muscles that get really tight are our quads. So we're going to go old school on this one. One head against the wall for a little bit of balance. You're going to bend your leg up and you're going to give yourself a nice quad stretch. Now ultimately your goal is to be able to have your knee lined up with your other one, as opposed to being forward, lined up with your other one, and your heel touching your butt. That means you've got pretty good flexibility of your quadriceps. Now if you can't get there, right, sometimes people are so tight they're having to twist their back, or the arms aren't long enough because they've lost some flexibility. Don't worry, I'll show you a way which you can modify. If you can't reach your leg, either because of lack of flexibility, or maybe you've had a knee replacement, or there's just arthritic changes in your knee and you can't reach it, no worries. You're going to need to get another chair and something to hold on to. This one's on wheels because I'm at the clinic, but ideally you wouldn't want to have anything that has wheels on it. What you'll do here is you're going to lean forward, put your foot back on the chair or the back of the couch. Now the key is that your knee needs to be behind your hip, as opposed to my knee lined up with my hip. My knee needs to be behind. And then when I'm here, I'm just going to open up the chest a little bit. I can bend this opposite knee if I need to, and I'm going to get a nice stretch through my quad. And then what you'll do with this quad stretch is it's a 30-second hold, and repeat that 3 times on each side. As you get more flexible, you may have to put your foot up on something a little bit higher, or you can just drop down with that support leg, and that'll give you a good stretch. 3 30-second holds on each side. If you have one side that's quite a bit tighter, give that side a little bit more attention by maybe giving it 1 or 2 extra stretches. If you've been to the channel before, you know I am big into walking. I think everyone needs to have a daily walking program, regardless of what else they might be doing in the day. And our goal is 7,500 steps per day or more. So track your steps if you can. I'm a big believer in walking. But when you get so many steps, our calf muscles, ankles, Achilles start to get a little tight. So once again, we're going to do a basic calf stretch against the wall. We call the calf the second heart because many of us have trouble with fluid pooling down the legs. So not only are we going to do a stretch of the calves, but we're also going to do some heel lifts to try to get a little bit of that fluid up and out, as well as increase the strength of our lower leg. We're going to keep it simple. Come to a wall. You want to make sure that back foot is at 12 o'clock, which means it's pointing straight to the wall. It's going to want to cheat out, but make sure you point it straight to the wall, keep your heel down, come forward, and get that calf stretch. And then you'll transfer your weight forward, keeping your heel down until you get a nice stretch right in that calf. And you're going to hold that stretch for about a 20-second count. You can repeat it. On the other side, make sure your foot's at 12 o'clock, come forward, get a good solid stretch, 20-second hold. Then what I want you to do is, in between each set, we're going to work on a little bit of strengthening. So one hand for balance, and we're going to do some heel lifts. So we'll do about 15 to 20 heel lifts on each leg. and then we'll go back to a stretch. And we're going to repeat that sequence 3 times. 20-second stretch on each leg, followed by 15 to 20-second heel lift. Get that circulation improving each leg, and repeat that cycle 3 times. The next stretch we're going to get into is for the pectoralis. Once again, most of us are forward. Take a look at yourself in the mirror, and if you see your shoulders kind of coming down and in, look at yourself from the side. If you feel like your shoulders are rounding, oftentimes having tight pectoralis muscles is contributing to this. So what do? You come to a corner or a door frame. I want your elbows a little bit higher than your shoulder. Bring one foot forward, and we're just going to lean in. Everywhere you go, there's a door frame, so it's a nice way to get a chest opener. So you'll lean in through here. Make sure you focus on your breath. Exhalation is very relaxing, so you're going to exhale, kind of lean into it a little bit, a 30-second hold, and you're going to repeat that for a total of 3 times. So 3 30-second chest openers. Another area that gets real stiff as we get older is our thoracic spine and our ability to rotate. So what I want you to do is just to go ahead and sit comfortably in a chair, and then you're going to turn as far as you can one way. Nice and easy. Now you don't want to force anything, but you want to go as far as you can comfortably. Then when you get to the end, I want you to keep your shoulders where they are, but you're going to turn your head back over your opposite shoulder as far as you can. And what we're doing here is, not only are we working on stretching my thoracic spine to the right, but then we're also kind of loosening up that junction of where our head sits on our shoulders, because this area right through here gets really stiff. So once again, turn to the right in this example as far as you can, keeping your shoulders locked. Turn your head back 3 times as far as you can, nice and slow. And that's mobilizing what we call the CT junction, or where the cervical spine meets the mid-back. After 3, you're just going to hold this position for another 10 seconds. You'll oftentimes be able to go a little bit further into rotation after that, and then you're going to slowly release it. Same thing to the left. Go as far as you can comfortably. Once you're there, turn your head back to the right over your shoulder 3 times. After the 3rd one, turn back to the left. See if you can go a little bit further. Hold that for about a 10-second count, and then you're going to release it. And I'd probably do that at least twice on each side. Now the seated stretch I just showed you, if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, you do need to be careful. There are certain movements that you really want to try to avoid. I'll put a link right up here to a video that I did about certain flexion-based and end range rotation exercises that you really should avoid if you have osteoporosis. In this example that I just gave you, you can still rotate, because getting through life without rotating is not very functional. However, instead of going all the way to the end as far as you can go, I would probably go about 60 to 70%. So if I can go all the way to the end, what I'll probably do is go about halfway and maybe a little bit more, and then work on my neck rotations. So the idea there is that we're still working on rotation, but we're not just going to the end range, which tends to put our spine into a little bit more pressure than we really should have. And now for the bonus stretch, an area that I know you're tight, because I know I am. Have you ever noticed it's getting a little bit harder to kind of put your shoes and socks on and to be able to kind of get that leg, oh boy, up here and stretch it out? That's because we're all developing hip tightness, and we just need to stretch that out. I'm going to show you on this stool because I want you to see the position of my spine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten out my left leg, and I'm just going to put my right ankle right around my knee. And I'm just going to hold on to it right here, and I'm just going to check to see if I get a little bit of a stretch in through that hip. If I'm not getting much of a stretch, then I'm going to bend this leg up. Now, I want you to take a look at my spine. What I don't want you to do is round out the spine. So what I'd rather have you do is keep a curve in your back, but if you're like, and I can't keep the curve in my back because my hip is so tight, then take this leg and straighten it out. So start with your leg straight. Your back has a nice curve in it. So therefore, you don't have to lean very far forward. This might be enough to give you a stretch. But as you get more flexible, then you would start bending up the opposite leg. Start with the leg straight As you get more flexible, keeping your spine neutral, bend that leg up until you get a nice stretch into this hip. This one you're going to hold a little bit longer. It's about a 30 to 60 second hold. As you're here, you can explore the stretch a little bit. You can lean forward. That's going to change the angle of stretch. Now, oftentimes one side will be a whole lot tighter. We'll try the other side, and it's a lot tighter. So we're going to start off with the legs straight first, all the way down if you need to. I have some people that start way down here because their hip is so tight. Just throw a belt or something over here or loop onto your shoe with just a finger until you get more flexible. As the hip starts to loosen up, you can bend it up a little bit until you get a good solid stretch, keeping your spine neutral, 30 to 60 seconds. You can take your elbow, push down on it a little bit to get a good solid stretch. Oftentimes what works well with this is if you can foam roll your hips first. I'll put a video right up here that talks about how to foam roll your hips, get things loosened up, and then go into your stretch. All right, guys, hope the video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we'll see you at the next video. Take care.